Yes, we do. Welcome back to the Stockwell Roche Show. Does he fall in the category of George Clooney? No.
Actually, back in the day, he did.
Back in the day, he did.
John Cougar, right? Oh, yeah.
I'm
Billy
Jason
Joel.
Stockwell,
Billy
Remax
Joel.
Results.
Josh Roche, Realty Group.
And we have Melissa DeLay and Stephanie Havel in studio with us, and we're talking about perception. I said perceptions. There's actually only one perception. So Melissa holds a Master's of Arts degree in organizational communication and has a business called True Perception, TRU perception.com. And we talked about how she goes out to help individuals, CEOs, executives, companies, and they don't have to be CEOs, I guess, but anybody, that needs help and actually has an online blog and has a bunch of great information. And obviously, based on the climate, the media, my own reaction, the presidential candidates, there's a real need for creating better relationships, better communication, and yeah.
Well, and I think, like you said, I mean, just as a testament, Jason, because I feel the same way. I'm so passionate. These buying a house and selling a house is a very emotional experience. And
Very
like you said,
charged.
the appraised value, it not only goes to, like you said, Josh, a listing agent. You do. I mean, I think most listing agents do their homework and really feel that this is the right value. And when customers are going through that, lenders, I mean, everybody's excited, and then all of a sudden,
Pop the balloon.
But we're so passionate about it, and that's what, how do we deal with it when we get so excited? Because it does happen in our industry too. People, and all of a sudden something comes up in underwriting, and oh shoot, they forgot to tell us, or something came up that they maybe thought we weren't going to find out, and that's a really difficult situation. The customer's like, how did you not, and the realtor, how did you not know this 2 weeks ago? And the customer, how come you didn't know this 2 weeks ago? Well, we're not underwriters, we're loan officers, and that's why it goes through a process. But everybody's so upset, and how do we, instead of saying, well, hey, realtor, well, you should have talked to your client before that. You should have known that. And the customer, well, you should have told me this. Yeah.
Let's cast blame. Let's point a finger. Right?
Yeah.
That's easy to do.
It is.
Well,
Industry for sure.
and the reason that we want to do that, I mean, we could talk about whether that's second nature or if it's human nature, but the reason we do that is we are trying to keep our reputations intact.
Yes.
And if we didn't feel that we did anything wrong, or if we didn't do anything wrong, now we're going to try to figure out who did do something wrong. I can cast the light over there and then perhaps preserve my reputation. The exact opposite happens, however.
So you want to actually accept responsibility for something you didn't do? Okay.
No.
Let me get clear here. Because I'm about to really blow up. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Let's get the strap
Yeah.
down.
But you're right, because when I think I did something wrong or that I didn't do something, I want to prove myself.
Yeah, you do want to prove yourself. But here's what happens when
and
you...
it can get yourself in trouble doing that.
That's right. And I'll tell you why. I call it the underdog phenomenon. So let's say that Jason makes an error and you didn't do anything, but Jason's not there, and you're going to throw him under the bus because you didn't do anything wrong, and you're trying
I wouldn't
to
throw Jason under the bus.
Right, but let's say you
Let's
do.
do an example, yeah.
Yeah, let's say that
Real
you
life
do.
example.
All of a sudden, whoever is listening to me, the minute that I start talking negatively about Jason, all of a sudden their affections align with him because
of an
he's not there.
underdog.
Because the underdog.
We all want that.
defend
Anytime I'm watching a
yourself.
hockey game, I mean, obviously I root for the Wild, but if I'm watching a sporting event and if I have no interest in the teams, I root for the
always the
underdog.
We all do. So you're not there to speak for yourself, to defend yourself. And now all of a sudden, I'm thinking Josh is not the greatest person. And I am...
And he's thinking he's preserving his stuff, and he's actually lowering it.
Yep. And so there's... But no, he should not take responsibility for something that he did not do. What we have to do whenever we're communicating this kind of what I would call bad news is, originally I already said you got to tell the truth, but do it in a considerate way.
Yep.
But the third thing is you've got to be objective. You got to take all people in the situation into account. There's two sides to every story. There's your side, Josh, and there's Jason's side. And if Jason's not there to talk about his side, you should at least say, I've worked with Jason a number of times. I would like to invite him into this conversation, or let me talk with him and see if I can find out more information. And that way we're all being objective and we're not pointing fingers and we're not casting blame, because even though we think that's going to help our reputation, reputation, it actually makes people in the back of their mind think, if I wasn't here, what would they be saying about me?
Wow.
How might they be throwing me under the bus? So
Right.
so there's a solution, but it's hard, and that's why I say you have to practice when times are good. And the other thing that Stephanie brought up that I want to address is setting the right expectations, because in the beginning, in the honeymoon phase, you're buying a house, everything looks good, you got a high credit score, you got money in the bank, there's things that you just don't know, but we make all these positive assumptions. This is probably the only place where we struggle on the positive. Most all of the rest of the business I do is about, oh, you're too negative, you're too hard on yourself, you're kicking yourself when you're down. But over here, we're super positive. We think everything's going to work out. And then all of a sudden, something pops up, and now we have to tell a different story. And so that's where I want people to be more neutral. Be excited. Think everything is wonderful, but occasionally drop in. If something surfaces that we're not expecting, there's going to be a plan. I'll be with you. We'll try to work through it. It looks like everything is going well, and we hope for the best. If something changes, I'm going to be here. I'm watching for that. And that's a really hard thing to do, because people go, what do you mean? What if something's going to happen? But you've got to manage expectations.
Because you feel like your credibility, I mean, like you said, you're the listing agent. I mean, you probably, I'm guessing why you feel so emotionally charged is you've done your research. You know the value of the house, and now somebody else is trying to tell you, no, Jason Stockwell, you didn't know the market. This house isn't worth what you're trying to sell it for. Is that's kind of how you feel?
But more importantly, it is truly about the clients in this situation. It's my assessment is one thing, and my reputation that actually is like way secondary or way down the list from these clients literally
thinking they're going to
have their heart set on it.
You have this plan. We have the numbers. We have everything laid out, and everything's good. And then, bam, crushed, just like that.
Right.
But I have a question for Melissa about. So Melissa and I, before the show, we had coffee. Now, I know I need a lot of communication help and style, because I'm very direct and over direct sometimes, maybe even. Gruff, or what's the word? I don't know what the words are.
Abrasive, maybe.
Abrasive. Yes.
I haven't noticed that about you, but since you were looking for a word, I gave it to you.
Yeah. So even communicating. So I have people, and I'm running a very successful, great team of people, and I'm always trying to keep people on board and be accountable and make sure things are done properly, accurately, and things like that.
That's hard.
Some of it I'm guilty of sending. Time is of short time. We don't have a lot of time. So it's hard to just sit down with someone every single time and have a face-to-face conversation. So you end up communicating via email or text. And I think even on the way here, I'm just thinking back to an email I sent, and I'm like, that probably should have been something set aside later instead of in the moment that I just learned about something.
Yep.
I should have called it out right on the spot. I should have waited till maybe a later time. Which could be even days down the road when I have a sit-down meeting.
Another thing you can do, though, if you're moving really fast and something comes to mind or something comes to your attention and you know you need to address it, what I would have you do is add a caveat, something about your own responsibility. It's possible that I haven't communicated carefully enough in this situation.
Yes.
Knowing how much I'm on the run.
I put this on the back burner.
Right. I most likely didn't give you clear enough direction, and that's on me.
Sense.
Here's what I need you to do now. So I don't want leaders who
to be
are
accusatory.
No, I don't want. Well, and that's not where I was going to go.
Oh, okay.
But I don't want leaders to be accusatory. But I also don't want them to have to change their management style. I want them to communicate in a way that works with their management style. If you're somebody that's constantly running and constantly dropping text messages and doing other things that could potentially feel intrusive on your people, then I hope that you're buying them lunch and saying, this lunch here is because I know that I am constantly sending you text messages and possibly sending you in different directions, and I appreciate how quickly you're able to move with me, because that's about a whole nother topic, recognition and helping people
recognition
understand.
Recognition is huge.
Yeah.
Oh, so huge.
But it's about making sure that people understand that their day-to-day contributions matter and they roll up to something bigger and that you're seeing it. So you don't have to, as a leader, try to remember remember later to talk to somebody face to face. But there's a better solution. Take some of the onus on yourself and say, knowing how fast I'm moving and how often I send you messages, I have possibly overlooked this. Here's what I need. Can you give me confirmation that it's done by the end of the day? Thanks so much.
And
Jason.
that's part of humbleness, and actually not trying to always be the right one, or the one who's always like, I
It's
wouldn't
leadership.
have ever made a
It's
mistake
just
like
being a
that.
leader.
So
glass house
non-casting the blame, casting the blame as much. So, so you can check us out, folks, on YouTube under the Stockwell Roche Show on YouTube. We'd love to see you and meet Melissa on there, Stephanie on there, me and Josh on there, Josh and I on there, or Josh and me. And the Facebook page.
We'll bring the grammar police on next time.
on the Stockwell Roche Show on the Facebook page, and you can go to tcrealestatehour.com, tcrealestatehour.com, and you can get a free home evaluation there. If you want to have any questions about your house, if you want to have questions about refinancing or mortgage rates or anything like that, we're here to help. And of course, Melissa's here to help if you have any.
Don't call an appraiser.
Needs.
Call Jason.
We'll be back shortly. Thanks again.